I don't know, like, she's out there. You're the Florida version of Sex in the City, JD.
That's when I was smoking my cigars.
Don't be an asshole today.
Nice.
There you go.
Because I'm in a hotel room, and I got this bed behind me, and it's about as formal as I can get. And like, it's like it gets a little tricky when you're on the road.
You're a trooper.
Where are you?
I'm in Los Angeles today.
Oh, nice.
Yeah,
Matt,
I
I
came
don't
out
know
here.
that. I don't know if you've had the pleasure of meeting my co-host JD.
Not yet, no.
I'm
Where
sorry.
are you, JD?
Florida, Boca Raton.
Ah,
Florida.
very cool. I was just there. So I live in the Northeast now. I'm from LA, moved to New York. Now I live in Pennsylvania. But in between all that, I was just in Orlando last week for a travel conference.
Oh,
And,
okay.
and then I came to LA, and I'm hanging out here and working and doing stuff for the next couple of weeks. So yeah, I bounce all over the
Nice.
place.
Matt, I think everybody knows you from Pink Media and the I Love Gay Everythings.
Oh, bless you. No, just I don't.
Yeah,
I
that's
just
how we
I just
met. We
I
met
just stay consistent and just keep it just keep little things out there and try not to overdo it, and somehow it's all seems to work.
try not to overdo it. There's like 100 different I Love Gays.
Yes, there's over 200.
Is there
But,
really?
Yeah,
Really? That's
but
hilarious.
it's all very manageable.
A second to put my glasses on. I can't see. I forgot to bring them over. I was too far away. So sorry. Okay, I'm back.
JD, it dawned on me now that they're Roger Daltrey glasses.
Oh,
Very
these
cool.
really? I didn't know.
Yeah.
I had them first. Maybe I had them first. I don't know.
I'm gonna go with no on that one, but
Yeah, he's a little older than I am, so
that's funny.
yeah.
So Matt, tell me like just a little summary of how busy Pride Month makes you.
Yeah, and it all starts even months before this, in the planning stages and so forth. So we started getting pretty busy even around March or April with companies trying to figure out what they want to do and
Yeah.
what Pride Month will look like. And then the floodgates open. And I will tell you, it's funny because it really is as soon as June 1st kicked in, we have a group on LinkedIn and for LGBT advertising, media, marketing, and that group just went crazy the moment June 1st started, because everybody like had their stuff ready to go, and then we had our client stuff ready to go, and so everything just happens. And
Yeah.
and then when we're monitoring on Twitter and trying to keep things active and sharing Pride things, it's hard to keep up.
It's got to be. I mean, first of all, it's like the first in a couple years now where people are having in-person events.
Yeah.
And everybody's just like so excited, and it's like, what's near me, what's going on, who's the entertainment, where do I get tickets, what can it's like it's got to be a madhouse. But man, I commend you because I don't know how it feels behind the scenes, but it comes across as very organized.
Well, thank you. I'm glad. That's all. No, and I'm in LA, and even though being from here, I'll tell you, it felt really good. There was a Pride last weekend, which I missed, but I saw a lot of footage
I saw
online.
that.
That was WeHo Pride, and then this previous weekend it was LA Pride, and they're separate. There's two of them, but it felt really good because LA Pride was an amazing event, and it really reflected the LA that I knew and grew up with, which is just extremely multicultural. I mean, every shade and every variation of people exist in LA, and they all descended in Hollywood. And it's also because Hollywood's easier to get to when it comes to mass transportation and so forth. So tons of people, and there were no barriers to things. You didn't have to pay to get in. The parade went down Hollywood Boulevard, and there are no barriers to keep people separated. And it was just kind of nice because they just everything was very open and free, and it was one of my favorite LA Prides I've ever attended. So it felt really
Oh,
Yeah.
that's amazing. That's so good to hear, especially after what's been in the news and in the papers, like what happened in Idaho.
Yeah.
It's scary. It's scary first of all, it's scary to get back out there and be amongst crowds, like I'm still extremely guarded about that, like I
Yeah.
still want my 6 feet. I'm still a little bit nervous.
Right, right.
I don't want to be crushed and packed in any place, but on top of that, you know, um, the gun safety laws and all the attention and everything that's been going on, and especially this latest thing
Yeah.
where they rounded up like 31 guys that were on their way to cause problems at Idaho Pride. It makes you feel like you've got, to be worried about yet one more thing,
Oh, yeah.
but I'm thrilled that it's not making people stay away, like,
Yeah.
yeah,
No,
it makes you kind of want to come back with a vengeance,
I think there's a lot going on in people's minds, and I don't even think we've wrapped our heads around it all yet. It's just, remember in 2020 when the word was when things get back to normal, and then
Yeah.
along the way, everybody was saying the new normal, and
Right,
but
right, right.
that infers that what we're trying to do is get back to something, but maybe with a variation. But
Mhm.
here it is, two years later, and I really believe that we've all evolved and grown and changed in a way that it's not even a new normal anymore. Now it's progressing in a different way.
Yeah.
And some of it is 2 steps forward, 1 or 2 steps back, and that's what we see in Idaho.
Yeah.
And,
Yeah.
but we just got to keep pushing and persevering. Same as when I was in Florida. I'm in Florida and everything is about don't say gay, and there's a lot of negativity around that. And yet, JD and others that, Florida is about as gay as it gets when it comes to a state here.
So true.
Oh, yeah, it's true. It's true.
It's
Yeah.
true. I saw a rainbow shirt that said "Don't say DeSantis," and I was like, "Oh, but I wouldn't give to walk around in that when I'm back home."
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, it would be amazing. It's just it's pockets. It's just you got to find your people.
Right.
We were
Right.
talking about this, like,
Yeah.
you've got to find your people and you've got to make Pride what you want to make of it. I was
Yeah.
saying how much I don't like London's Pride. It's just overwhelming and chaotic, and it's not
Yeah.
fun at all. It's just, it's not fun. But when you go to like little pockets outside the boroughs, you find the fun things, like you find the local prides, like in
Oh, yeah.
Croydon or in Eastbourne, or even Brighton, which is, to me far better than London as far as entertainment and organization and all that. It's really fun. But everything here, I noticed in the UK, it's always a ticketed event, always.
Yeah.
Always, every single thing. I mean, you can't even get into a restaurant if you're not booked in. You know what I mean? Like
Okay.
everything is a ticketed, plan ahead kind of event. And I get that. I think organizers want an idea of a head count. They want to know, who's coming, basically how many is coming. So what to plan for and all that kind of stuff. But that's kind of nerve-wracking. But for the most part, yeah, I find the little ones more comfortable, just I was saying, like, unless you're under 25, like then I mean, if you're under 25, you're going to appreciate that kind of
Mhm.
scene. You're gonna that those are your people, and you're gonna dance your shorty shorts off. But older, fatter lesbians, they just want to take their time and browse the vending, that kind of thing. So I think those ones, the pace is just better.
But you have choices. The UK, I think, is amazing in the sense that they have so many Pride festivals in
Yeah.
some of the smallest pockets. And the best
Yeah.
part is that they've all discovered and learned that social media works as their friend. And so
Oh
when
yeah.
you're online, you discover and find all these Pride festivals in the smallest places. And then I feel like you can really find that group and that Pride in that region that really works and resonates for you. And so I
Oh,
think that's
totally. Yeah, totally. It's very different everywhere you go. Everything's so regional.
Yeah.
Well, down here, the more south you go, the more accepting, the more open, the more, it's when you go up, the more north you go in Florida, you're more in the south, as you probably know.
Yeah, exactly.
Go
That's
north,
true.
go south, really. And it's like, so Wilton Manors, Fort Lauderdale, Miami, like Wynwood Pride was really packed.
Key West is
Yes,
amazing.
packed
Yeah.
with people.
Yeah.
Yeah, so you have to kind of go more south to get the more open-minded, you know, whatever, liberal, accepting, I don't know what the right word is,
Yeah.
but yeah.
No, it's true. It's very true. It's so, you know, you look at the map and you kind of, you know, you're right. The further south you go, you know, the more free you feel. Matt, tell me this, like, since we're on this topic, but
Yeah.
you guys get much like crap tweets back at you or anything? Do you get people coming at you for anything?
I was just thinking of that and talking about it today, and
Really?
the answer is yes. But I was talking to a family member, my sister, and I was telling her it's that I seem to have this strange and uncanny ability, and I do feel I'm happy about this ability that I can ignore a lot of stuff, and I'm aware
Do
that a
you
lot of
have to? Do you feel like you have to?
and lately, yeah, I either I have a pretty thick skin and don't let it bother me. I know half of it is bots anyway, and
Yeah.
but yeah, but there's more to it than that. There's this that's also feeds into our strategy that makes it work, because it's most of the crap comes through on Twitter more than anything else.
Yeah.
And but it's good because Twitter is really well designed, where people that see the things we post or other people post and we're tagged and we see these arguments, you don't see all that stuff unless you want to see. You actually, like when
Yes.
you see a tweet, you have to really pursue it and
Right.
say like, ooh, what is somebody else saying? And you have to be eager for that.
Mhm.
But in addition, if you're the one posting and somebody has come at you, it's a funny little thing that goes against a lot of human nature for folks, which is don't respond. If you ignore it, the Twitter algorithm, and most social media is the same way, but the Twitter algorithm just kind of like lets it die. The
Yes.
moment you engage, Twitter doesn't know if it's good or bad. They just say, "Oh, look, they're friends. They're engaged with each
Right,
other."
right.
And the moment you engage, all your friends now have a potential of seeing it, so they win.
Yeah.
So it really is a thing. You just have to toughen up. And I'm sure that the day is going to come when somebody's going to attack me to a point where I'm going to be a hypocrite and say I just couldn't be tough enough for it, and I had to go out, you know, I had to defend myself. But in general, you have to toughen up and just kind of like continue on the path and know that those are out there. Half of them are real. The other, you know, another quarter I mean, half of them are not real. The other quarter are people that are really paid just to be as nasty as possible. And the ones that really believe and feel that way is a small percentage. And so knowing all that, you're not going to change minds. You're just going to feed into a machine that you really
Right.
should not.
That's
And so
that's a great point.
that really deters a lot of people, unfortunately. People will just say, no, you know, that's why they'll say I like Facebook better than Twitter, or they'll like Instagram better, because on Facebook, it's a more controlled environment. It's your friends and
Yeah.
family. So you can control who's there.
Right.
And on Instagram, everything's nice because, you know, everything is just, unless they're being bitchy as far as
Yeah.
what you're watching or something, it's a friendly, happy place. And so
Yeah,
it's
it's
really
true.
when somebody has something to say and they want to get nasty, there's only one venue for it. So it gives it it taints it, and unfortunately for some people.
Yeah,
But you
Twitter
can
can be a
delete.
cesspool
You
of
can
hate.
delete
Yeah.
the nasty comments too on Facebook, right? Like you can ignore them. Ignoring.
But you can delete
Sometimes I
them.
think, like you say, ignoring is more irritating to a person that
It is.
Oh yeah, indifference is like the
because they want that engagement. But
Yeah.
it's so hard to ignore. But if you
Yeah.
do, you're right.
Yeah. And
Yeah.
just don't respond when you've had a drink.
Right.
You got that
Agreed.
cocktail and you're like, oh yeah, I'll show you. And then it just, you know, it's so much easier to dive into that. We've all done, you know, and we're all guilty of those things. But in general, that is my number one, you know, old grandpa internet lesson I could ever leave anybody is just
Ignore it. Ignore it.
That's so
ignore. And
true. It's so true. And then my other question is like, do you have ultimate license over what you want to promote and what you want to retweet and what you want out there? Or do you have someone saying, not these people?
no, it's wide open. And that way,
Awesome.
there are times when there are a variety of things that come up, and right now there's one, and I don't like it. It's there's a profile out there about, you know, with the Pulse museum and everything wrapped around Pulse. You know, it is what it is. But then there's some LGBT haters out there. One of them has like, I think it's like No Pulse Museum is their profile, and what they do is they try to engage us in it. What folks will do is that they'll tag us in things and hope that we're going to like go, oh yeah, we're not paying attention to what you're saying, we'll just share it in our network. We don't.
Yeah.
Everything is not edited, but
Scrutinized.
just reviewed, it's
Yeah.
scrutinized. And so folks like that, and we only follow them for one profile, I Love Gay Orlando, because we do want to know what are they saying, but that doesn't mean we're agreeing. We just want to know, like, it's kind of like when people follow Trump, they just want to know, what is he saying?
Yeah.
But but you see stuff like that out there. And
Right.
so we're just, it gives us the freedom to be able to not share things that other folks might expect us to, or think that
Right.
we're required to. And we just cruise right along. Our whole team, they just know that they have discretion, and it's keep away from hard politics, hard porn, and hard religion. You know,
There you go.
those three.
What exactly does Pink Media, what do you do? Is that a company people could advertise with during these
Yeah, yeah,
times? What is that?
and that's really an evolution of what we started back in '95. We started with a gay website, created a lesbian site, then I went for gay sports. So we had all these websites, and we used to work with clients to promote and target and advertise through banner ads and email campaigns. And so when I sold it, I stayed in the industry just purely working with clients wanting to promote online, but I was able to work with all sorts of different websites. And so I worked with others that I used to compete with. And so I worked with the websites, but then when social media came along and technology and mobile apps, so at the end of the day, Pink Media kind of morphed into this almost like an agency, but like more like a media buying agency, where we put plans together for clients, and then we execute, put it all together, and do it. And Twitter was a part of what we were promoting on, and that's where, and then we started dabbling with this I Love Gay thing, because we started to see patterns about how it all worked, and that turned into a little monster all unto itself. So today we actually get more business and work through the I Love Gay network on Twitter than anything else, because they come to us saying, I want to promote myself on New York for Pride or whatever it might be.
Right.
So they're speaking our language, and they're targeting already. They're thinking targeting, and then we just simply say, great, but tell us a little bit more about what you're looking for, because then we can get them on mobile apps, get their video out there, whatever it may be. So everything becomes a little custom, but it's all kind of aligned towards targeting LGBT people online.
I love it. I
love
absolutely
that.
love it. I love following like all the different. Let me ask you this. Here's one.
Yeah.
Here's one of my buttes. You said you have like over 200 like I love gay whatever, you know.
Yeah.
What's the weirdest one that you have, do you think? Because I love gay pets. That's
Yeah,
one of my faves.
and we do that one because of the fact that you know, some of them are almost like placeholders, because you know, the pet market is a big one. And there are a lot of pet lovers online, and they're sharing. So we kind of put those together with no business to be had yet, but just kind of like building up a following, and it is. But the crazy part is that the ones that really, every one of them is different. Some regions have a lot more followers than we can ever follow back, because they're just so eager for, you know, just there's an eagerness in some regions that you don't find in others. The more remote it is. South Africa is very eager. South Africa is very on it. They, you know, they really post. And so, but the quirky ones become like, I love gay bears. And so for our bear community, they're extremely social, and they love to share, and and so that one has just developed and grown into one of our larger, more balanced communities, so to speak. And so
Good.
but then we had a client that was doing nude cruises, and you know, nude resorts and clothing optional. That's all part of the LGBT community. It's, you know, at least on the G side with gay men especially. So we created I Love Gay Nudists, and I was really surprised to watch how that one exploded. So,
So if someone were to say have a new song they're releasing and they want to advertise that, that would be a good platform to be doing that with your company.
Yeah, because we have a strong setup with I Love Gay Music, but then a lot of times they're touring, and so when they're touring, we end up promoting I Love Gay Music, and then like say I Love Gay Virginia or North Carolina, wherever they may be on tour, we'll cross those two over. So they're kind of tapping into both markets, and that's kind of the power of that network is to do that.
I have to talk to you about that.
I like that. I Love Gay Travel too. That one I find super helpful.
That one's huge. That's one of our biggest. And it's
cool. Like you can literally just go on Twitter and like search some weird passion that you might have. Like I'm gonna give you I love gay cartoons, because we've got a lot of gay cartoon content coming up pretty soon. Cartoon Ups is producing the Lesbian Lounge cartoon, Our Best Bits. They're doing Nobody Parks in LA, which is hilarious, with Tay from Queer as Folk. So yeah, there's like whatever you're into, you're gonna find a Twitter account for it, like an I love gay
Yeah.
something. And it's just, I just find it useful. And that's rare to say about Twitter.
Yeah,
You know?
well, we're building groups and communities. We build a community. So like what you're just referring to with cartoons, that would we would run that probably through I Love Gay Fandom. And fandom is kind of a generic word, but
Mhm.
there is an entire world of fandom with hashtag gay geeks and gamers with a Y.
Yeah.
And there are entire worlds that are out there that are huge. And so all we want to do is just be part of those communities. We don't want to dominate. We don't want anything other than just to be a part of, because actually the reality is most of them, many of the folks that are active in the fandom and gaming and geek community, they are so much bigger than we'll ever be.
Oh
But
yeah. Yeah.
we just kind of play in their sandbox. Every one of the profiles is designed to actually be like it's all manually done. There's nothing automated, and we're playing in their sandboxes, and we're just simply contributing a bit. We're sharing things that we see, but then we share their content. We like their content, and it becomes a two-way street. It becomes engaged, and it's with all those communities. And so,
It's
and that's what I'm saying.
helpful.
It
Yeah.
seems a little crazy that we have all that, but we're able to manage it quite efficiently. So it all works
You
out.
don't have like, do you have certain people that have that interest manage it, or do you
Yeah.
give like 10 to this person and 10 to that person? And
Yeah, no, it's people that it's much more enjoyable when somebody's able to work on a profile or a few profiles that are more in line with their interests.
yeah.
But the folks that work with us, we don't even have to like go out looking for them, because they are already engaged with us. They're on Twitter, they're engaged. We're kind of sharing back and forth, and it becomes one of those things where a relationship forms, and then it's easy to be able to have them, if you could tell and somebody might be open to that then they
Oh,
could come and do some work for us part-time. And so the whole thing, there's no training involved. There's no education to say, like, I don't need to interview someone and say, do you understand Twitter? Or why would you, like all that
right.
is eliminated. And then of course the skill set translates into all the other things. So if we have a campaign on Facebook or Instagram, the skill set from Twitter allows that person to be able to easily migrate to the other platforms as well.
It's just, it's really, really interwoven,
Yeah.
it's
for
layered and
sure.
it's nuanced, but it's like I said, I mean, I can't, I mean, I found you that way.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
We were engaged with each other.
we were engaged.
Yeah, you're a real person, and we treated each other as such.
Yeah, yeah. It's just, I think, I mean, and that's part of it too, is that, I don't know about you, but like when I get a like or a retweet, or when somebody responds to something, you know, um, for the longest time, it wasn't about that. It was just reading,
Yeah,
just
yeah, yeah.
reading and stuff like that. But I think between politics and COVID and, everybody being stuck at home, it became like, I'm not going to say I was obsessed with it, but it was part of my daily, part of my daily stuff. And I was, seeing more engagement and having more conversations and getting more. I think I used to have like something like 10,500 followers. And then when Twitter did the purge and all the bots were gone, I dropped down to like 9,000. But
Yeah.
like just over the last 2-3 years, like I'm back up to like over 9,500, and like it's just 500 out of nowhere. And I don't normally check, but like that number kind of like, I was like, where did that happen? When? I don't even, like it's just, I guess because it's every day, I'm not calculating and I'm not adding it up. But yeah,
Yeah.
it's becoming a really good platform for little short blasts of information, and that's pretty much all I can handle. That's
But
really good.
it's always interesting because the clinical way to say it is that it's human psychology. It's just, to succeed in that space. But really it's not clinical. It's just understanding people. And
Mhm.
and we all have our own way of understanding people and others and being part of society and social. And so at the end of the day, there's basic things that we grew up with in kindergarten and so forth. We like to be liked. We like people to
Yeah,
like.
yeah.
We like
I like a
and other
light.
people like to be liked as well. But then you kind of, at first you're saying like, well, of course we all know that, but we don't. If we knew that, social media would be handled probably a lot differently.
Yeah.
And people like a relationship. That's where it always goes. It's a two-way street. So the
Yeah.
moment someone says, I don't get Twitter or social media in general, but all they do is just blast things. They post and post and post,
Yeah.
but they're showing absolutely no interest in others. They don't ever like or comment or share on other people. They just, well,
Right, yeah.
how does that work in the real world? How would you like if you
Yeah.
went to a networking party and someone jumped on the table, said, "Hey, everybody stops," and they start yelling about how great they are, and then they jump up?
Look at me. Yeah, yeah,
You would
exactly.
say,
You
"What
could,
a freak!" You know,
And
what a
then
weirdo. But
left.
yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah.
But
I like-
people forget but social media is an extension of who we are as people. And so if you step back and you look at it more that way and so forth, you start to realize like, oh, that's how you make it work. And
Yeah.
the rest of it just happens from there.
See, I find that a lot on Instagram because of the promo. Like anytime you hashtag anything like podcast or Zoom or YouTube or something, like there's always those people that are like, oh, send us money and we'll put it on our
Yeah.
thing, and it's just
Yeah.
all it is more people doing the same thing. So when you buy followers, you're buying promoters that are
You're
just
right,
keep
right.
doing that, and it's not people that are interested really in your content at all. It's terrible. Like
That's
that's
why-
the downside of it, what I don't like about Instagram. But
Yeah.
Instagram for me is fat babies and cats. That's it.
What I like about your company, what you do is that you can localize it if you want to, because
Mhm.
the internet is so vast. People, I was just talking about this with someone yesterday about promoting things. Like in the old days, you couldn't reach so many people as you could when you now with social media. But then again, it almost becomes like a needle in a haystack. So even though you could reach more people, everyone's reaching everyone. So it's just what do they look at? But I like that you could localize it. So if you have a show in an area that you're trying to promote, or you have anything new that you want to promote a business, you can localize that.
It's a little
I-
more targeted. Yeah.
I like that you can target
Yeah.
areas.
But there's a human psychology component to that as well, though, because that's the part, we're not digital creatures, we're analog, and analog means we're in the real world. And that means that we have relationships where we like it's all about who is near me in my town or my city, or who shares the same types of
Right.
values. And we find that when we create profiles that are dedicated to, especially areas like Iowa and Indiana, we get a really loyal base of followers and users that are engaged with, because we are speaking with them and to them in their part of the country, and they feel a little more connected. What happens is that once they're connected to, like, I Love Gay Iowa, and we're sharing and doing things, then something happens around them in a nearby state or just anywhere in the LGBT world, they're more connected to it through our network, because we're almost like things that we like and share across, like I Love Gay Theater in New York. Well, folks in Iowa will see it if they're interested in theater as well.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
theater is the connector. So Iowa and New York are the regions, but then theater is the connection, or TV or music, that brings those worlds together. And so they discover each other. And so it's just, that's the positive side of where social media can go.
Yeah,
Right,
that's the truth. Yeah. Yeah. Those connections are so important. I remember, before social media became, like JD said, so vast, and we were excited when we get like an email from a listener in Ireland, but we're
Yeah,
like, oh my God, like that's just like amazing to me. But they always said that they felt like they had a friend, like what we were talking about, and the people that we were relatable to them, and that's what grabbed them, and that's what kept them listening, and I think that's always the thing that people look for when they're looking for a Zoom show or a podcast or something. Like, is it relatable? Like, is this going to be something that I'm interested in? Is this, worth my time, basically? Yeah. So yeah, that's what we're shooting for here. I mean, pretty much we say it all the time. But yeah, like you want to be liked, and that's, the things that you like are the things that, are things that you can relate to. It's like today's the first day I'm wearing shorts, and my cat just walked under the table. Like, what the hell was that?
but there's always something else that connects us, as just being gay or lesbian and all shades in between. And so that's why somebody from Ireland or someone from anywhere in the world, all of this, not only we're connected, but we're now sharing ideas, and we're sharing thoughts and things. And so I think we're discovering every day that we're not so different, but I think being gay helps, because the whole gay connection, as far as, like, if you go to another city or another town, you go to a bar, it's easy. There's an understanding about who we are and the culture that we're all, that spans the world.
Definitely. Oh, for sure. That's the foundation.
You layer all that together. You layer gay and New York and theater, and you have this kind of triad of, with the gay being and I say gay loosely, just the LGBTQ plus, But you have that and you bring that together, and there is really something there when it comes to human connections and so forth.
For
I just,
sure.
yeah,
Yeah.
it's incredible. I think what you're doing is fantastic. I'm so behind it 100%. Like,
Thank you.
that's the best part of my day is when I when I go on Twitter and I
Yeah.
see like a new, especially like a new I Love Gay that I didn't know about. Like that's like a plus for me. That's like, okay, it's gonna be a good day. Drinking my coffee, reading the tweets, checking out the retweets, seeing what's happening.
I
It's
love it.
yeah, that's the pleasure, and I've had to like really change my my Twitter feed a little bit, like do a little purge,
Yeah.
unfollow a lot of news organizations and stuff. Like I'm just over. I just said today, like, can I mute the words Rwanda? Because over here with the refugee problem, right? So can I mute the words
right.
Rwanda, the feds, the Fed, and what was the other, gas prices? Because
Yeah.
that's all that's in my feed. Like I just had to like just do a big unfollow. Like I need to tighten it up. I need to make it more gay. Like I'm done with done with these
My,
news
my,
cycles.
my only feedback on that is it'll happen, but it doesn't happen overnight. Like,
No,
yeah,
no.
it's an important first step. You do that and you start who you follow and engage with.
Yeah.
Twitter pays attention, and then it starts to slowly change the folks that you'll see. But
Yeah, I
it
do a
does
lot of
happen.
turn off retweets too. That's another big one, but not for you. But I mean, like that's in general, I do that a lot.
How long has have you had your company doing
Yeah,
this?
well, I've been doing this 27 years, but when we started Pink Media was after we sold Gay Wired and She Wired and all that. So that was 2008 when we started Pink Media. But I'm realizing, because Twitter gives us our anniversary mark for a lot of our profiles, the vast majority of I Love Gay is about exactly 5 years old now. And
Oh,
so
wow.
we have a few profiles that are older, but very few. Like the majority of everything that we see today is about 5 years, that we since 2017 when we really launched that.
I feel like I've known you that long, only because I got to tell you, like the whole basis when I was first podcasting to find things to talk about,
Yeah.
there were three key websites, right? Lesbian News, She Wired, and then there was another one after Ellen.
Yeah.
And then as as it started expanding, I added like Auto Straddle and
Yes.
but yeah, that was where we would get our topics like every week. So like kind of in a roundabout way, 'cause I've known you
Yeah.
since She Wired days.
Yeah. We all go way back, but no, it's just we've been just kind of, because we've evolved, with that. And that's where, I mean, I'm glad I sold at that time, because for us it wasn't as exciting, because the whole idea of content creation and then banner ads and all that, it became kind of a commodity in some ways. But even then though, it was still exciting, because back then there was no social media. So we had to create message boards and ways for people to meet, and
Yes.
we would keep people on the website for sometimes like 30 minutes at a time, where nowadays that's unheard of. Nowadays,
Yeah.
people read an article, they go in, they bounce out.
Right.
But back then it wasn't that way. And so people would start on our homepage and kind of work their way through. And so that was a whole.
Totally. Oh my God. I was probably one of those ones that spent half an hour. Like I was gathering content,
Yeah, yeah. It was a whole different world. So yeah, the world we're in now is much more short form content, quicker attention spans. And it's not always a bad thing. You just have to adapt and realize that there's a lot of information, and people are getting things, they're little fireflies that light up. And so
Yeah.
you
Yeah,
absorb some of
totally.
it, but your goal is to really get people excited from a little short form thing, get them excited about the longer form that you may have. So,
Right. Right.
show a little clip of a video, and then if they like it, they can go and see the whole video. So it's that sort of
Exactly.
mentality.
That's exactly. That's perfect. And the thing is like, I mean, 5 years is a big deal. Like 5-year anniversary is a big deal, but think about the
Yeah.
fact that this, was going on during the pandemic when people needed it the most, and like I said, that's when I really fell into it. And now that,
Mhm.
we're back, doing things again and being able to live a little bit, it's still there. It's still a part, so that was excellent timing.
Thank you. Thank you. No, it feels good. It feels good. It's kind of fun because we don't have to ask for permission, and we don't have to like get a validation or accolades from others that in the industry. It's just simply the users and the user base and the clients that follow along. That just happens organically from what they find and what they see. And so that makes our whole team feel really good.
That's and how big of a team are we talking, Matt?
There's about 10 of us. There's about 10 of us here. There's myself on the East Coast, and then my business partner's in LA, and he's the one who has the patience and deals with some of the folks that we have that mostly it used to be we'd have writers and social media posting creators, but now we actually have more folks that just do more monitoring and managing of some of the profiles. And so we have a team of people out here that he manages that does all
Great.
that.
That's great. What were you
Yeah.
going to say, Jay? Sorry.
I was going to say what I really love about is you got a great energy about this. It seems like you really, really enjoy what you're doing. And when someone really enjoys their business and what they're doing, that just, transcends to anything you're working on. So your whole content is just, you get a good feel from that. And just talking to you, I could see you just enjoy it. It's such a blessing to do what you love.
Yeah.
And like you're traveling doing it. So that's awesome.
Well, thank you.
And,
I call it the litmus test. If Sunday night, when you're in the evening, if you're excited for the work you're going to do on Monday, then you're in the right direction. And if you're dreading it,
exactly.
if you're
That's
dreading
exactly
Sunday
it.
night, then you need to make a change.
Because I always really kind of felt sorry for the people with the thank God it's Friday
Yeah.
mind, because are you wasting the whole week waiting for Friday, and then it's only 2 days then out of the week that you're not waiting for Friday,
Oh,
but
wait a minute. I did the I love, I can't wait for it to be Friday, TGIF stuff. Not because I didn't like my job, but because I knew that there were happy hour drinks coming.
but there are a lot of people with the
Yeah,
other, and
definitely.
I can't say I so much love my day job, which is a business that I own, but it does give me freedom. So,
Yeah.
but the thing is that as a person, like I'm sitting here in a position where I have a show I want to promote, and I have some, some new content I'm putting out in the way of print and for the show. And I'm thinking, I'm looking for an avenue, and what you do is just so perfect for that. But I'm really loving your energy about it, because then you feel like you're partnered with the person, with the company that's doing this, the
Oh
advertising.
yeah, man. You want to have a good feel for who
Yeah,
you're-
you want the excitement about it.
Oh, well, look, I'm
Yeah.
glad I did that. That's a little Matt there.
Yeah. Yeah.
Love this.
Perfect. Well, listen, I don't want to keep you, Matt. I know you got a lot of work ahead of you, but it's been lovely catching up.
Same
And
here.
yeah, it's so good to see you again. I'm glad that we could make this
Yes.
work.
Absolutely. Thanks for having me on the show.
Great. Happy Pride.
Happy Pride.
Bye-bye.
Why do you always run back to the love?
Like, never stop chasing your dreams.
You're addicted to her touch. That's true.
See?
And I confess,
We drank way too
my
much whiskey.
addiction is you. Don't ask me why I'm here tonight. I had to take this midnight drive to find you. And as I come in through the door, I see her dancing on the floor beside you. Why do you always run back to the lover you once knew? You're addicted to her touch, that's true. And I confess, my addiction is you. You look at me and in my eyes you see